Okay guys, welcome to my how to hold videos. In this video we'll be looking at cache, and we'll be looking at the middle section of cache, which is one of the more important places to hold apart from the bomb sites themselves. We'll be looking at both the mid-main area and the boost from different positions. So first we'll look at timings, then we'll look at angles, then we'll cover positions, grenade usages, pushing, and terrorist afterplant positions as well. But let's first define on the map which area of the map we're talking about. So we're talking about the section in the middle, including the highway and the boost section. This allows access to the vents if they take it, and to A and through Z-Con. So we're covering both from boost and from mid-main, but we'll mainly be focusing about this front area up to the vents. We won't be covering anyone attacking from highway or from Z-Con, as they're covered in other videos. So let's get into it. So first we're looking at timings. We're going to look at CT timings, T timings, and the meeting angle. So for a counter-terrorist, to get out of Z-Con, to looking up to the mid-main / boost area, takes them about 6 seconds, so they're there very quickly. And for a terrorist to do the same out of mid-main, it takes a little bit longer to do it on the boost, so we're going for mid-main here. It takes them 9 seconds, so the CTs have a bit of time to set up. Just be wary of flashes and smokes coming over. They can throw that earlier than you can get there. Let's have a look at angles. We're going to look at aggressive and defensive angles. So you can have angles crossing into mid-main, and then crossing out of the main, including the boost area, and then just before the vents, near the sandbags, and then down from highway. So now let's have a look at positions. We're going to look at aggressive, defensive, one kill, and AWPing positions. So we'll start off with the aggressive ones. So these are each side. So these are the side of mid-main and underneath the boost. Then you've got the white box. You've got on A site watching down highway. You've got in Z-Con from either side of Z-Con. At the sandbags, in the vents, either through boosting or running through mid and going out, and the other side of mid-main. Let's have a look at these in game. So this is one side of mid-main. On the left-hand side, it's underneath the boost spot. Here's probably a better position to hold, because you can hold both here and boost. Just be careful of boost. This is more of a default spot. It's pretty defensive. Super defensive, you actually give up vent control, so be careful with this one. Here's a pretty good spot, but you have to be wary of AWPers, and they can get over the boost, so maybe you want to hold from this side, so you can watch the boost while you're watching mid-main. And here's a decent spot, but they can get out of mid-main here without you being able to get it very easily. Vents is pretty good if you can get there. You can split it up between this and the boost, and you can hold close, which is an aggressive but okay spot as well. AWPing, you can AWP from the white box, more of a default AWPing position. You can AWP from A site, very defensive. And of course you can AWP from Z-Con. So this is probably the most common AWPing positions, and you can use it to watch boost as well. Let's have a look at grenade usages. We're going to look at smokes, flashes, and incendiary grenades. So we'll start with the smokes. So we're only going to smoke out mid-main, which you can do from here, just easily. Because smoking out the boost position is not actually that useful, because they can go around it quite easily. Unless you're going to smoke twice. And then from here, you just throw the normal smoke. So this just delays them pushing out mid. Make sure you throw it as deep as possible, so they can't push out one side and get you from the other. And white box, there's a couple ways of doing this, but this is probably the more common one. You just bounce it off the ledge. It's going to land a bit far out, so just be careful of that. But it does block it off quite nicely. You can also do it from here if you want to do it a bit deeper. You just throw it over the white box, and it lands a bit further in. Actually a better smoke and much easier to throw. So, from Z-Con here, you can just throw on straight. You are exposed when you throw this, so it's not the best way, but if you do it quickly, so if you get there in 6 seconds or whatever, throw the smoke, it's quite good. Very common strat that I know that Cloud9 use. They like smoking off mid-main at the start of the round. From the other side, you can bounce it off the wall. Again, this lands actually a little bit far out, so you want to actually try to land it as far deep as you can. And from sandbags, you can throw it over the sandbags. This is probably the best way of doing it if you don't want to expose yourself. And again, it lands a little bit out, so try to get that deeper. From the vents, you're going to have to expose yourself to throw it. Just hit the little ledge, and it becomes quite good smoke. As blocks off it all. So now you can use that smoke and then watch the boost. And again, from here you can just bounce it off the same wall, and you throw the smoke, watch boost, or you watch people pushing out, depending on how you're going to hold mid. Just be careful of them running on the other side of the smoke. Flashes, you can flash underhand. You're going to pop flash right at the door here. Good for people coming out there. If you want people hit people on the boost, you're going to use this wall here, just a straight flash. You'll flash people coming up the boost and all along the boost, which is quite nice. From back here, you can hit the ledge, and this is going to flash people coming out, but only if they're coming out. It won't flash them if they're deep in main. This one here will flash them on the boost, which is quite good. You want to try to force them off the boost if you're playing this position, since you can get trapped very easily. This flash here serves a dual purpose, both flashing mid-main if they're pushing out. They will know where you're coming from, but they should get flashed, and it will also flash the boost. Again, pretty easy to see, but usually not expected. At white box, you can do a two-handed throw over the top. It'll flash people closest coming out of mid-main. You use this to peek quite nicely. It'll also flash people on the boost, so you can do it pretty safely. If you're not too worried about flashing people on the boost, you can throw one out. This flashes people in mid-main a bit further back. It can flash people on the boost only if they're up on the boost though, so it's not really going to force them back. You can also do a underhand flash on top of the white box. Pretty unexpected. They can see it if they're looking there. And it will also flash people on the boost if they're close to the left-hand side. From A site, you can just do a running throw. This is more of a delay flash. It's going to flash everyone in mid, but it's not really going to allow you to peek at all with it. From Z-Con, you can use this wall here. They can see it coming for this flash, but it's just a default flash. You can do the old underhand flash around the wall. Pretty good flash. It does actually bounce a bit, so it does get above that ledge, so it flashes quite nicely. If you're on the other side, you can do the flash. This will flash also the main, but also the boost, more effective for it. If you're at the sandbag, you can do a flash over the hut, or on top of the hut. It can be seen a bit. If they're looking the left-hand side, it's good. If they're looking right, it's not going to flash, but it will get the boost quite nicely. You can also throw it backwards using the lamppost, or the lights, and this will flash more in the middle, but it's a bit easier to see if they're on the boost, unless they're hugging the left wall. So if you're in the vent, you can throw flashes here. This one will land on top of the hut. Good for the boost, not particularly good for main. And they will know where you're coming from. If they know that you're in vents and they don't seem to have a Molotov, you can throw a flash there, and that'll flash them, allowing you to get out of vents or allowing you to get the kill. If you're on this side, which is probably better for flashes, you can use the mound. This will pop right into mid-main quite nicely. Or you can just do the old underhand flash into the roller shutters. Again, pops in about the same spot, a bit lower though, and gets mid-main. So Molotovs, you're just going to chuck these into mid-main, like so. Again, try to get them as deep as you can. You can even chuck them on the boost from this position. Just make sure they don't land on that first ledge, they land as far back as you can, without landing on the boost spot. So underneath here you can throw one, just hit the white box there, and it lands very good. It'll stop people running out, and make them take damage if they try to. You also throw it on the boost. Again, try to get in the middle of the boost, not where you boost up, and not the first ledge. From here, you can just throw one straight. If you do want to actually get it where they boost up, if you're quick enough, you can do that, but usually you're not quite quick enough. So you normally just want to throw it on the boost to stop them boosting up, rather than get them damaging as they're boosting up. But either way. So from Z-Con, you can throw one. You have to run through this one, otherwise it becomes too short. Just keep that in mind. And boost, you're going to have to run through, or walk through this one. Pops quite nicely there. They can actually get up on that little ledge, and so they have to wait the fires out. So be mindful of that. From the sandbags, you can take a couple steps back and throw one in. Just make sure you get it low enough. And you can also throw one on the boost. Again, they can just come up a bit and wait it out, but it does stop them peeking. From the vents, you can just throw one straight. You are exposed when you throw this, so be careful. And again, you want to get it as deep as possible. If you're super exposed, you can actually throw one on the boost. I wouldn't really recommend it unless you know there's no one in mid-main or it's smoked off. From under here, you can just pop one straight in, as you would from the other side. Again, you want to get them as deep as possible. Or you can just throw one on the boost. Make sure you try to get it to the right of the boost rather than to the left side. The more right you get, the better it's going to be. But again, they can get up and not peek. Let's look at pushing. We're going to look at benefits and detriments of pushing. So there's a couple ways you can push here. You can push mid-main into the B-main area. This is actually a pretty useful one. Clearing out B side. You can do the same for A side. Again, pretty useful, because then you can relocate where your teammates are going to be. And it forces them back. It can be a bit dangerous. You can counter boost, which is good. Mostly if you want to go into A main, you can counter boost into A main and clear out A quite nicely. You can also go through the vents, kind of a pushing. This helps out B site, and can help clear them out that way. Let's look at T aftermaths. We're going to look at aggressive ones and defensive ones. So first we're going to start with a really aggressive one, which is in Zcon. You can watch a bomb plant. It's planted for you. The white box here, you can also watch the same bomb plant. These are all based around that same bomb plant, right outside that box on A site. You can actually be here to catch rotators. Not particularly very good though. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.